Hello everyone and welcome to Kick It to Scoops. I'm your host Cooper Gretsch, the sole admin of AFL information, trade rumours and results. I've got a very loaded show for you guys today. We've obviously got the world famous segment Scoops Goes Bang. We've got my team of the week. We've got my rolling Australian team, Supercoach talk, my rolling Australian, the whole shebang. But we might as well start off with this. First of all, you want me on Cameo, head to cameo.com/Cooper G and merch, as I said. Every single week, there's t-shirts on there, there's stickers, there's stubby holders, hats. There's some new prices at the moment, so if you want to get them while they're cheaper, get onto it now. The t-shirts range from $25 to $29. Got hats on there currently for $15, stickers are for $7, and face masks for, I think it's just under 10, or just over 10. So go and get yours today. Now let's start off with that world famous segment, Scoops Goes Bang. Boom. Oh, Luke Beveridge and Liam Picken. Luke Beveridge and Bailey Smith. And Stephen May. Separate incidents. We'll go through the Beveridge one first. He's saying about the drug policy, it needs to be scrapped. Why does it need to be scrapped? Does it need to be tinkered with? Maybe. Does it need to be scrapped completely? No. Is he saying this because his player's in trouble? Seriously? If you do what Bailey Smith has done, yes, I don't care when it was. Strike is what you should get. I don't personally. You shouldn't. Why should you get 3 chances? That's too much. But anyway, that's a story for another day. But to defend like to say his actions were bad. Yeah, of course they were. You have to say that. But then to say he's had suffering this, so it shouldn't take into account the strike, rubbish. Do you feel sorry for Bailey Smith? No. No one in that incident, in that scenario, you should feel sorry for. It was their choice. Now, they say Bailey was suffering from mental health issues. So that's something you don't want to go. It's a pretty sensitive issue. But at stages, it is used as a cop. I'm not saying Bailey Smith is using it as a cop-out. But people do use that card, mental health card, as a cop-out. And it's something that you can't keep defending, going, oh, he's only young, or in this case, people say, oh, he's young, he's got to have fun. You can be his age and have fun and not do that stuff. Pretty plain and simple. Now, in terms of the suspension length, now, when you think about it, I know these are nothing compared to off-field incidents, but you think of strikes that are getting worth a week or 2, and this is going to be rumoured to be the same length. This is what they should be doing. Ahmed Saad, remember the former Saint, had an energy drink. Energy drink you're allowed to have, just not on game day. He copped a 2-year ban for it. Lockie Keefe copped a 2-year ban for his drug ban. Why shouldn't Bailey Smith have a similar penalty? Yeah, you might think it's harsh. Players in the past have had 2-year bans for something similar or something like Saad's energy drink, far, far less. Beveridge, lift your game. And Bailey, yep, I've seen your apology, it's all fair and well, but what's happened has happened, and you can't undo that, and unfortunately you have to suffer the consequences. Now, Stephen May. Got a long list of a track record, a bad track record of being in off-field incidents, in fights, and training, and in this case now with Jake Melksham and Joel Smith in Paran, in a restaurant. He's got a track record. He's done this with Stephen at the Gold Coast when he was co-captain. He had a brawl in training with Campbell Brown. There's a lot of off-field instances. Stephen May, maybe a great player, but this suspension for him needs to be what it has been. And you have Jake Melksham. People saying for Melksham he should be suspended too. Maybe, but what people don't realise, people are saying, oh, well, how can Stephen May be suspended for a week and Melksham isn't? Stephen May was suspended for a week because he broke concussion protocols. You're not allowed to drink while you were in concussion protocols, according to Melbourne. That's their rules. That's what he was given the 1-week ban for. He wasn't given a 1-week ban for the Melksham incident. He was given a 1-week ban for drinking while under concussion protocols. They both copped community service for the fight. So for people that say, no, it's unfair for Melksham not to get anything week-wise, but May did. May got it for his breaking the concussion protocols, drinking under concussion protocols. That was what he got the week for. The fight and argument with Melsham, they both got community service work. So, pretty plain and simple, May shouldn't lift his game. He's been having a lot of these off-field incidents, and as we go through the Melbourne game later, when there's been no Stephen May, there's been no Melbourne. They've lost 3 in a row. So Stephen May, Luke Beveridge, Bailey Smith, lift your game. Right. Hope you guys enjoyed that edition of the world-famous segment, Scoops Goes Bang. Now we'll go through, what are we going to go through now? We'll review round 13, just the bye rounds. The bye rounds. We don't like the bye rounds, but anyway. Round 13 started all the way back on last Thursday night at the MCG. Richmond 77 defeated the Power by 12 points, 77-65. Some even contributors. Liam Baker was one of Richmond's best. Travis Broke was the Power's best. Dan Houston was pretty good, kind of rosy. It was some... Todd Marshall was good kicking 3 as well, having about 15 possessions. It wasn't a major standout individually in this game. It's a close game throughout the whole way through, and Richmond prevailed in the end, having a 2-goal victory, and they're just outside the 8 in their famous 9th position. The other game for the round on the Friday night at the MCG also was Essendon hosting Carlton, 54-80, Carlton by 26 points. Carlton would be happy with that win because they needed the win to stay in the top 4 contention, which they have. Essendon, Dylan Shield played his best game, definitely for the season, and potentially of his Essendon career. Maybe that might be a stretch, but it's definitely his best game all year. Paddy Cripps was one of Carlton's best, along with Sam Doherty. But yeah, Carlton did what they had to do. Essendon win it in patches, but Carlton in the end got the chocolates. On Saturday, we had the Dockers host the Hawks in Perth, Freo 95 to Hawthorn 82, Freo by 13 points. Freo had a bit of a scare from the Hawks. The Hawks, this year, they've been in contests. They've either led and come from behind. They've either given up a lead. They've had all mixture of results their way this year, but they've been in matches pretty much throughout the whole season. It's a credit to them, and they almost pinched it against the Dockers. Nat 5 came back for the AFL for the first time this season, playing the Waffle last round in the Waffle, and this round, first game of the year in the AFL. Done okay, playing mainly as a forward. Will Brody had one of his quieter games, but still did alright. Andy Brayshaw was another BOG type performance from him. You'll see the votes later. Caleb Sarong was awesome for them as well. So, yeah, the Hawks, Jago Romero was probably the Hawks' best player. Now, the game on Saturday night at the Gabba, the Saints led for most of the contest, especially in the first half, and then Brisbane got ahead in the third. Saints lose 3 plays, McKenzie, Owens, and Jones in the second and third quarters, playing for almost 3 plays short, but it wasn't enough in the end, unfortunately. Brisbane 78 defeated the Saints 57 by 21 points. The usual suspects for the Lions were their best, Lockie Neal, Hugh McCluggage. Kadeem Coleman was alright for them as well, as was Joe Danaher kicking 3, and he probably could have kicked more had he kicked straight in. Some of his other shots he missed, particularly in the first 2 quarters, were gettable for him. But for the Saints, Jack Sinclair and Brad Crouch, probably the 2 best players for the Saints this year. Well, definitely Jack Sinclair, and Brad Crouch is certainly in that conversation as well. Yeah, disappointing in the end. Max King was on fire early. Wasn't seen much after that. Probably kicking to him too often. They need to be a little less predictable. Start looking for Membry. Membry maybe needs to play more up forward. Rowan Marshall when he's up there, Ryder. And some of the small forwards, Butler and Higgins came back in. The side have been out for a while, so good to see him back. But hopefully get a few players back because we're going to lose 3 this week. Hopefully Billings and Hunter Clark will be back in against Essendon on Friday night. And the game on Sunday was the Roos and the Giants. North Melbourne 53 smashed by the Giants, 102, 49-point victory to the Giants. Harry Himmelberg, since Leon Cameron's departed, he's now played as a backman, as potential as an intercept defender, mainly as one. But he had done nothing wrong as a forward, but he's had little patches, a bit like Tim Emery. They pushed late in quarters in the back half, but since Leon Cameron's departed the Giants, Mark McVeigh, who hasn't played Broden Bruce still, and had Nick Haynes as an emergency, an all-trained defender. Very odd, Spike. Do you want the job or not? Yeah, they won. They beat GWS and they beat West Coast the last few weeks. So take it easy. Himmelberg was awesome. He had 37 disposals. His intercept defender was awesome. Steve McNeely kicking 3 with 34. Isaac Cumming was great with about 31 touches. Also the half-back line. Tom Green was good in the middle. James Petling, since Leon DeCamara has played as a forward, and has done very well. Some positional moves that have worked. And Jake Riccardi was pretty good as well, kicking 3. Todd Goldstein was a Roos best player. Now, I was going to mention in the news side of things, but I mentioned it now. Jason Horne-Francis has signed a 2-year... beg your pardon, whoa, jump now, sorry, Roos France. He's got a 2-week suspension, not a 2-year extension. I'm actually going to get into that in a second. Got a 2-week suspension for striking Josh Kelly, and the Roos have accepted that this morning, and rightfully so. It's a disgraceful hit from Horne-Francis, who's obviously clearly frustrated. His attitude towards Goldstein and a few other players throughout the whole year, and the way he's been playing is not the way that people think he would play. Looks unhappy. Well, if I was the Roos, I know it's great in hindsight to have taken the Adelaide offer last year and what Richmond offered, but mainly what Adelaide offered. I think it was 2 first-round picks and a future second-rounders. So could have been something the Roos could have taken, and they could have got with the picks Adelaide would have given them. They could have got a Rochelle or something, and had 2 extra draft picks. So in hindsight, it would have been a great deal to take, considering now he is going to leave, or he's going to want to leave, as I revealed on my site yesterday. He will request a trade at the end of the year. Doesn't mean he'll get it. He still has a year to go, obviously, but he will ask for it. Whether he gets it is a whole another situation. So he's had pretty lean 3 weeks, and frustration has got out on him on Josh Kelly, who was also great for the Giants yesterday. He was being tagged and still did good. And the Queen's birthday clash, the Demons lose 3 in a row. The Pies win 4 in a row. The Pies 82, defeated Melbourne 56, Collingwood by 26 points. Mason Cox, is this, outside of that Richmond prelim, is this his next best game in his career, especially that second half? He finished with 21 possessions, had some impactful moments, kicked a goal. He was pretty good, the big American, Mason Cox. Brody Mychik was good kicking 4. Jack Crisp, with his crisp disposal, he was great again. Probably would definitely be leading their BNF. Pat Lipinski done okay. He's had a pretty good year, but this was an okay game for him. For Melbourne, Clayton Oliver and Angus Brayshaw were probably their best 2 contributors. I know Max Gawn went off with a rolled ankle, came back on, didn't look the best. But Mason Cox took advantage of that and dominated in the second half. It was probably the difference. Jamie Elliott was good kicking 3 as well, so the Pies had a lot of good contributors. And in the 8th, the Pies heading into their bye. So, yeah. Now, we'll go through... Now, what are we going to go through now? All right, we'll go through my Round 13 AFL team of the week. First, from the back line, the pockets, Luke Ryan and Lewis Young. Fullback, Brennan Cox. Half back line, Hayden Young and Jack Sinclair. Centre half back, Harry Himmelberg. Wingers, Lockie Neal and Caleb Sarong. Centreman, Clayton Oliver. Half forward line, Steve McNeely and Todd Marshall. Centre half forward, Brody Mychik. Forward pockets, Jamie Elliott and James Petling. Full forward, Harry Mackay. Ruckman, Mason Cox. Jack Crisp, the Rover, along with Andy Brayshaw. Interchange, Nick Dacos, Hugh McCluggage, Brad Crouch and Isaac Cumming. Emergency, Sam Taylor, Angus Brayshaw, Sam Doherty, Todd Goldstein and Jake Riccardi. Now, leave your thoughts down below. Now, the reason for... Well, Luke Ryan was great. He's having a pretty good 4 weeks as Luke Ryan. Brendan Cox was great in defence. Done great on his opponent up forward. Lewis Young had 14 intercept possessions, 18 disposals, so it was a clear pick as well. Jack Sinclair had 30 again, having great efficiency as always. He's always in that. Hayden Young was awesome. 31 odd possessions, high efficiency, high meters gained. Some great kicking as he always does and deserves a spot on the side. Harry Himmelberg, I mentioned earlier, 37 possessions, intercept king, over 800 metres gained. Was definitely a one to be in for sure. He was a lock as soon as he hit halftime. He was on 20 odd possessions, so he was definitely a lock there. Lockie Neal, 37. Caleb Sarong kicked a goal on about 33. Clayton Oliver had 43. Pretty self-explanatory there. Although Oliver, he obviously did really good, but there was a moment where he wasn't to be seen, so probably it shows if he had been in that part of the game, could end up with 50. So now the half-forward line was Canelio and Don Marshall. Canelio kicked 3 and 34. Could have kicked 5 or 6 if you're being brutally honest. Brody Mychik kicking 4 was great. Don Marshall kicked 3. Was probably Port's best player, or one of anyway. Jamie Elliott, Harry Mackay, and James Pedling all kicking 3s and 4s, so they deserved their spots in the forward line. Mason Cox, I already described how he went. Jack Crisp was Collingwood's best player, just around the 30 possession mark. Good ball use, impacting the game, made some good decisions and got some score involvements. Andy Brazier kicking a goal in 37, he was definitely getting in. Pretty contender for the Brownlow for sure. And the interchange, Nick Dacos, Hugh McCluggage, Brad Crouch, and Isaac Cumming. Emergencies, as I mentioned there, Dacos at 35 or so. He was awesome with the halfback line for the Pies. A lot of halfbacks I could put in. Isaac Cumming, Sam Taylor, Angus Brayshaw, Sam Doherty couldn't put in. Now, I'm actually going to add to this list, I'm going to late addition to the team on the emergency list. I'm going to add Travis Boak. I was going to add him in, but he's just hanging out. He's in the emergency list. He's Travis Boak. It was great. About 34, a lot of contested possessions, high efficiency, deserved a spot on the team. Buller Cluggage at 33 and a goal was going to be in. Brad Crouch, if you look at his stats, he kicked a goal and had 26, but he also had 10 tackles, and he had high efficiency, and was someone of the Saints, besides Sinclair, was the next best player for the Saints, and it was a key reason why the Saints were in the contest throughout the whole game. And Isaac Cumming had 31 off the halfback line, was very dominant as always this year. So, leave your thoughts on my round 13 AFL team of the week. Now, let's go through. What are we going to go through now? We're going to preview round 14. Again, the bye rounds. Don't we hate the bye rounds? The teams that have the bye this round are Brisbane, Collingwood, Freo, Hawthorn, North Melbourne, and Melbourne. Melbourne need that bye. They might get Stephen May back. They should get him back after the bye. So the first game for round 14 will be on Thursday night at the MCG. Richmond hosting Carlton, 7:20 at the G, as I said. Victorian time, I'm going to go for Carlton there. Friday night at Marvel, saying the Saints hosting the Bombers, 7:50 at Marvel. The Saints should win and bounce back after that loss against Brisbane. Should regain, as I said earlier, Billings and Hunter Clark. Saturday games, first at the Adelaide Oval, 1:45 Victorian time. The Power hosting the Swans. I'm going to go for the Swans, but I wouldn't write off the Power at home, especially when Charlie Dixon has come back in the last few weeks. Brian Teckle, keep this in your notes. Brian Teckle should debut for the Power this week. I'm not 100% confident in this, but being told, expect him to debut this week. So keep an eye out on that. And the Swans should regain Tom Hickey. But yeah, I'm waiting for the Swans. Let's not spend too much time on this. Geelong travelling all the way to Perth to face the Eagles. 4:35 Saturday twilight at Optus Stadium. Geelong will obviously win there. 7:25 Saturday night at Giants Stadium. The Giants hosting the Bulldogs. Giants will win a few in a row, but against the bottom two sides. So, the Bulldogs haven't been too flashy either. I'm going to tip GW. No, I'll go tip the Bulldogs. There. Alright, the Sunday game. The only game on Sunday, 3:20 at Metricon Stadium. The Suns hosting the Crows. The Suns have been great, haven't they? They beat the Hawks, the Roos. They've beaten some other sides. Freo. They've normally been Melbourne side of the year. They've had some really good wins this year. The Suns are one to watch, as I said a few weeks ago in my ladder prediction video. Bonus clips, checking it out on the channel if you haven't already. So Gold Coast will be in the mix, and this win should happen against the Crows at home and bouncing around the percentage outside of the 8. Leave your thoughts on your tips for the round 14 just coming right soon. Now, I'm going to go through my Supercoach talk. This round I scored 1,706. Top 7%, dropped 8%. Had about 15 plays to play this round, just gone. So I'm really happy with 1,706. Dropped a percent in the ranking, which is okay. I was telling some people that I was top 5% before the bye rounds. If you're losing only a percentage per round in the bye rounds, it's not too bad. You don't want to have a round where you drop from the top 5% to top 12%. Then you've got to really build your way back up. It's a long road back. So dropping 8% is not too bad. I should have 18 to pick from. Now, as you can see on the screen above, you can see the players that I've got on the bench going, did you not field these guys in the round just gone? I have. The screen that you're seeing with the moves I've already made is for this round. So Crisp, Oliver, Neal, and Brayshaw obviously all on my ground. So don't stress less. And so was Lipinski. So, yeah, I'm not making a trade this week. If I end up with 17, depending on if Jack Carroll will play, Mitch Owens won't because he's concussion. So hopefully Carroll and Hoff in particular, and Bruce, can get a game. Bruce should this week. Matty Flynn was awful on the weekend. Yeah, so I haven't really made a move this round yet, and I don't plan to. So if I have 17, I'll have 17. So I'm going to read my main team for the listeners on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. This is my team. If you're listening on YouTube, obviously you can see it, but I'll read it anyway. My main team with a full team, and I'll reposition it. You can see on the screen what I'm heading into this round, but I'll read what I would have in a normal round. James Sicily, Tom Stewart, Jack Crisp, Jack Sinclair, George Hewitt, Jaden Short, and then on the bench would be Jacob Weir and Sam Skinner. In an ideal world, my midfield on ground will be Laird, McRae, Oliver, Neal, Brayshaw. Right, let me start again. Rory Laird, Jackson McRae, Clayton Oliver, Lockie Neal, Andy Brayshaw, Toik Miller, Paddy Cripps, and Greg Clark. And the bench would ideally be Carroll, Owens, and Hoff. Ruckman will be Riley O'Brien and Braden Bruce. Bench will be Brian Teckle, or Teagle. Forward line in an ideal world will be Will Brodie, Adam Treloar, Pat Lipinski, Steve Cannilio, Jay Gresham, and Isaac Heaney. And ideally the bench would be Cooper Hamilton and Ned Long. Now my captaincy choice for this round, I'm looking at Rory Laird or Toik Miller if Paddy Cripps is my vice captain doesn't score too well. I thought of McRae, but they play Saturday night, and they could do it, but I think I'll go with Cripps. And then my captaincy choice will probably, could then, if Cripps doesn't do well, my captaincy choice will be between Laird, Miller, and McRae. I'm leaning towards Laird or Toik in the moment, at this stage right now. I've got it on Rory Laird. So leave your thoughts on my Supercoach side, what advice you want for your side. Sound them off in the comment section or email me at aflinfolive@gmail.com or hit me up on Instagram at aflinfolive or Facebook AFL Information, Trade Rumours and Results. Now, I'm going to go through my rolling All-Australian team. Yeah, from the back line, you'll find out if there's any changes, and if there is, who they are. Back line, the pockets, Cal Wilkie and Tom Stewart. Fullback, Sam Taylor. Half back line, Jack Sinclair and James Sicily. Centre half back, Stephen May. Wingers, Josh Kelly and Jackson McRae. Centreman, Lockie Neal. Half forward line, Paddy Cripps and Charlie Curnow. Centre half forward, Jeremy Cameron. Forward pockets, Charlie Cameron and Zach Bailey. Full forward, Max King. Ruckman, Jared Witts. Rovers, Clayton Oliver and Andy Brayshaw. Interchange, still Will Brodie, Ben Keys, George Hewitt and Rory Laird. Which means, again, 2 rounds in a row, no change to my rolling All-Australian team. The bye rounds is probably not the ideal round to be chopping and changing because of people having games off. Stephen May, you could say, well, yeah, he's dominant, but then who's the option? Wiedering's injured, so, yeah, just stick with what you got. You could say about Paddy Cripps, I was looking at taking out, but then he had a better game on the weekend, so he'll stay for now. Zach Bailey, you could say, oh, not really dominating, 21 goals, 27 goals, but there's no one really else to pick. So Zach Bailey stays at the moment. And Jared Witts is still the clear standout number 1 ruckman in my eyes. Well ahead, Max Gorn. People say, Will Brodie said to me last week, hey, I need Will Brodie there. He's had a great year. He's been the key recruit with George Hewitt this year and Pat Lipinski. So, no, Will Brodie's been really good. Still had a solid game on the weekend. Not his best for the year, clearly, but still a solid game, over 20 touches, or just over around that mark. Ben Keys has still been dominant this year, says Roy Laird. George Hewitt has, even though he's missed a few games. Leave your thoughts at my rolling All-Australian team down below and what changes you would make and why. Now we'll move on to my Scoops medal. They're very debated. Scoops medal. Reenacted like Gillen McLaughlin. Round 13, Richmond v Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide. D. Houston, 1 vote. Port Adelaide. T. Marshall, 2 votes. Port Adelaide. T. Boak, 3 votes. Carlton v Essendon. Carlton. S. Doherty, 1 vote. Carlton. P. Cripps, 2 votes. Essendon. D. Shield, 3 votes. Fremantle v Hawthorn. Hawthorn. J. O'Meara, 1 vote. Fremantle. H. Young, 2 votes. Fremantle. A. Brayshaw, 3 votes. Brisbane v St Kilda. St Kilda. J. Sinclair, 1 vote. St Kilda. B. Crouch, 2 votes. Brisbane. L. Neal, 3 votes. North Melbourne v GWS. North Melbourne. L. Davies Uniacke, 1 vote. GWS. H. Himmelberg, 2 votes. GWS, S. Cornelio, 3 votes. Collingwood v Melbourne, C. Oliver, 1 vote. Collingwood, M. Cox, 2 votes. Collingwood, J. Crisp, 3 votes. The leaderboard after round 13, it is changed again and again, and that's great to see that there's an even amount of contributors this year. There's no clear number 1 standout. Now, an equal third on 16 votes is the former leader, Jackson McRae, and now joining him on 16 votes, who was in the top 2 at one point in the year, is Travis Boak. He's coming back. In second place on 17 votes is Patrick Cripps. And the new leader after round 13 on 18 votes, 1 head of Paddy Cripps, is the new leader, the former Brownlow medalist from the Brisbane Lions, Lachie Neale. Now, I can tell you there's a lot of players hanging out. Well, I don't think there's any on 15, but there's a fair few on 14 and 13 and up until 10. So the race for the Scoops medal is still wide open. Now, I can confirm that next round, or after this round of the last round of the bye rounds, I will be stopping publicly posting it on my page and on this podcast, because at the end of the year, during the bye round, between round 23 and the week 1 of finals, I will have a long, lengthy edition of the Scoops medal from round 15 onwards, essentially. So get ready for that. It's going to be a big one, and extravaganza of the Scoops medal. Will Jackson McRae go back to back? Well, he is equal third right now, so that chance could happen. But we've got plenty of contenders along with McRae as well. So leave your thoughts down below my round 13 Scoops medal votes. Now, my final thoughts are simply this. You want me on Cameo, head to cameo.com/CooperG. Merch, as I said earlier. There's t-shirts, there's stickers, there's stubby holders, the hats. There's stickers, there's stubby holders. The whole shebang t-shirts are on the site. So go and get yours today while they're at discounted prices. We've got t-shirts ranging from $25 to $29. We got stickers on there for $7 and face masks for around $10. Stickers are on there as well. Stubby holders, $10 as well. So go and get yours today. I would greatly appreciate your support. Now, some also final thoughts. Get rid of the bye rounds. Get rid of them completely. No one likes the bye rounds, not just for the games as standard. We don't like having our own teams have byes. So get rid of the bye rounds. Thank you very much. Whoever replaces Gil, get rid of the byes. Do not bring in extra byes. Did you know that the VFL, with a 19th team this year, 1 team departing Manapsley, they had 4 individual byes for each team? Utterly ridiculous. It was 3 the season prior with an even amount of teams. And now they got 4. If the AFL go anything like that, I'll be one of the first to rant big time on that. Get rid of the damn bye rounds. Now, thanks you all for watching on through the show. Let me know if your thoughts of the new intro that I made. I'm expanding the intros, changing it, chopping and changing it every single week to see what you guys think. And I'll eventually settle on one, because as you know, there's a big new intro I got planned. Whenever the hell that will happen, I don't bloody know. Your guess is as good as mine. But once this new intro that I really, really want to do gets done, it will definitely be the best of all time. And you can then acknowledge me. And go the Saints. Thank you all, and see you next week. Back in the original time slot, Monday night at 7 PM. All the best, and go Saints!